Look here, man, I never really cared about shipping characters. But this right here bothers every cell in my body. This right here sends shivers throughout my entire bloodline in this reality as well as every other adjacent universe. Present, past, and future. Why? Seriously, why is this even a thing? I realize I'm late as hell for talking about this, and how I'm even later considering that the 97 animated series adopted this relationship storyline from the Age of Apocalypse comics as well as a few others. But no, this is just ass. If you ask me, Magneto, top tier X-Men character. He's my favorite X-Men antagonist, and honestly, he's the best written X-Men character in the universe. Granted, my whole X-Men scope is just everything that's been on TV shows and movies, excluding the New Mutants movie. The second half of that I just couldn't get through. And the pride of the X-Men animated series. Regardless of all of that, Magneto reigns supreme for me. Magneto and Logan to the side, Rogue and Gambit are my two favorite X-Men. Hell, one of the very first comics I ever picked up was this because I just love these two. This right here is the norm, and will always be the norm. Do these two have to be together in every single reality and story? Yes. Okay, alright, they don't have to. I want to be clear though. If I'm Rogue and I zap people's life force and suck them dry by making skin-on-skin contact, I 100% understand hooking up with the only person I can't potentially kill by touching them. Some of y'all will see this and be like, it's completely worth it. But in actuality, no, in actuality, no. The second Rogue touches you, you guys are going limp. Ignoring being a Gambit stan or love seeing Gambit with Rogue, a lot of people have an issue with Magneto and Rogue's relationship primarily because of the large age difference. I'm kinda in the same boat as well because in pretty much every X-Men media that I've watched up to this point, Magneto is typically in his later years and can pretty much be the father to everyone outside of Logan and Xavier. But in a world with genocide and wacky superpowers going on, adults of age choosing to smash or to be in a relationship with one another isn't at the top of the list for the craziest things going on within that world. Again, I'm not familiar with comics like how others might be, so I'm just gonna assume that this man Magneto is in his late 50s or early 60s here, and that Rogue is in her mid 20s or early 30s. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But yes, I get it, the gap makes a lot of us grossed out, but that isn't the end all be all. In the Age of Apocalypse storyline, Mystique drops Rogue's ass off to be in the care of Magneto and the X-Men, which is honestly my first red flag, but I'll get back to that in a sec. Rogue is Mystique's adopted daughter in the main storylines that I'm familiar with. Shit can be different from timeline to timeline though, kinda like how Rogue in this timeline has the powers of Polaris instead of Carol Danvers. Shit, the real main change is that Xavier's already dead in this timeline. But fuck it, I'm still gonna say that Mystique is filling in on that motherly role for Rogue here. I mean, she's over here crying and shit when she's dropping Rogue off. If I'm Mystique in a world where mutants are being hated and persecuted and agree with Magneto's goal in this timeline, I understand dropping off my daughter off at a place that specializes in mutants controlling their powers to protect both themselves and others for the greater good. But I'll tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not dropping my daughter off to be getting piped down. Off rip, no. I do not condone this. Magneto, I trusted you. I trusted you to help her control her powers. Why? Why are you doing this? She was simply here to learn and be surrounded by others like her. Not this. This was not a part of the plan. For Magneto to be in a place of power, being both a teacher and a mentor, and to end up sleeping with his student is wild. There's no way around that. If you're in Magneto's position here, you gotta be like, Rogue, you're a consenting adult, you're fine as hell, that southern charm is working me overtime, and despite me being the only person who can make physical contact with you, without you sucking me dry and killing me, we can't be together. Okay, you probably shouldn't mention a part about her being fine as hell because you gotta completely shut down all talks about being together without leaving any possibility of intimacy. but that's definitely one way to go about it, especially as a person in power. At the same time, I kinda get it, man. Magneto is the leader, his best friend is dead, he's fighting for a cause that he can't even see the finish line for. Apocalypse is doing apocalypse shit. Mutants are out there killing off other mutants because only the strongest survive. Yeah, it's wild out there. So it makes sense for Magneto to be at a low point and being vulnerable, but come on. Y'all went on to have a kid during all of this. It's not like they smashed one time and was like, okay, this can never happen again. Nah, you know they kept going at it. Unless Magneto only shoots up the club once and calls it quits. Red flag number 2 for me was Wanda's dying wish for Rogue to be there for Magneto as a friend. Of course, Rogue promises Wanda that she'll be there for her father. I mean, shit, that's honestly the least you can do for a dying person. It's not like they're gonna be around to make sure that you follow through. But regardless, Wanda tells Rogue to be there for her, as a friend. I repeat, as a friend. Not to smash him. And I get that Rogue was barely around Wanda to even form a legit friendship, but despite all of that, Wanda and Rogue were still comrades. They fought in the trenches to protect the school while everyone else was away. If Wanda had survived, the two of them could have been trauma buddies with how they had to watch other fellow mutant students die. I'm not gonna lie to you guys though. The only thing wilder than Rogue smashing her co-worker's father is the fact that Wanda got packed up pretty easily here, man. I was shocked. I know the issue of this comic came out in the 90s, but still, seeing how she got packed up here it's insane. But back to Rogue smashing her co-worker's father. If I'm Wanda, I'd be glad I wasn't alive to see my father hooking up with the new addition to the team. Pietro definitely had to be looking at his father sideways. I know I would have been. If you're my parent and in a relationship with someone in my own age range? Hey man, moving on. At the end of the day, these are grown adults making grown decisions. I, as a grown person, cannot police people's reproductive organs. The way I treat this is that this is an alternate timeline. You know what you can do with alternate timelines? You can throw them away and pretend that they never existed. Until they're in one of your favorite animated shows and you're forced to watch it because the show is too damn good to stop watching it. While I do plan to get back into reading these comics and the comics in between so I could have a better understanding of everything going on, because I do an absolutely shitty job of doing research, with my limited comic book X-Men knowledge, I still have a pretty good idea of what might happen with certain characters' storylines. Although I'm not 100% sure the direction that Magneto's and Rogue's relationship is gonna go forward in X-Men 97. What I do know, however, is that there will be drama, and if you don't know, I'm not gonna spoil it for you.